Have you ever sat down to dinner and felt the room decide who you are? The gilded steer promised refuge, low candlelight, the soft clink of silver, the smell of seared beef. For Sheriff Marcus Thorne, it was a deliberate retreat. 48 hours of briefings had drained him. Off duty in a charcoal suit, he wanted a ribeye, a glass of whiskey, and quiet. He picked a corner table by habit, a cop's small radar. The host led him to the spot. The piece snapped with a thin, entitled sigh. Sterling and Brooke arrived like a spectacle. Expensive, bright, harsh. Sterling's polo was tight. Brooke's clutch, a talisman. They bullied the host. Sterling's hand swept toward Marcus, as if clearing a stain. "We always sit there," Brooke said. "It's our table." No, it was the only two top. The host faltered. Marcus kept his face neutral and lifted his water. Let it pass, he thought. He was off duty. Escalation wasn't his job. Sterling drew closer, hunting. He saw not a man winding down, but a trespasser. "Look at him, probably on a gift card," he scoffed. "Tell him to move." The host refused. The couple pushed. The familiar coil of anger tightened in Marcus, and he quelled it with a colder patience honed by years of being twice seen in half the light. "Sir, I'm not moving," Marcus said quiet. "I'm a paying customer. Let me eat in peace." The idea of equality was an insult. Sterling bristled. "You don't belong here," he growled. "Affirmative action higher, maybe. Get up and go find a table in a part of town you're used to." The restaurant fell quiet. Patrons glanced, some sympathetic, some amused. Marcus cataloged each reaction like evidence. Location, motive, likely outcome. Brooke folded her arms. Sterling slammed his fist on the table. Water spilled, dark as accusation. "I'm sick of this," Sterling barked. "Get out of my seat." Marcus sat like a pillar. "You're not removing me. You and your wife can wait." Sterling smiled with predator certainty. He leaned close. "You don't know your place. You get a taste and you think you earned it, but you haven't." Marcus watched Sterling's right hand slip into a pocket, a small, telling move. Training keyed every microsignal. Angle, tension, intent. Sterling counted one and then flicked a blade open. The serrated click shattered the hush. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to metal and breath. "I told you to get out," Sterling hissed, the knife tip near Marcus's chest. "Get up, or I'll gut you." Marcus's answer was small and deliberate. He raised his palms, then slid his hand into his jacket and drew his wallet. He pushed aside its fold to show the gold star inside. Sheriff Marcus Thorne, Harris County. The room inhaled that Sterling's knuckles whitened. His certainty faltered. The knife caught the light. Someone muttered. A waiter's voice trembled. "Sir, please put that away." Brooke leaned forward like an accomplice. That Marcus's calm was strategic. He could disarm Sterling in a dozen controlled moves, but he knew what that would grant Sterling. The explosive scene he wanted, the furious black man the room expected. He would not write that script. "You're making a catastrophic mistake," Marcus said. His training measured cost. Legal, moral, personal. He thought of the badge and the oath, the ledger of consequences. Sterling's words turned uglier. "You people don't know how to behave." The waiter pleaded. Patrons shuffled. Someone checked their phone as if to record the spectacle. Marcus kept his gaze on Sterling. He considered options. Draw, subdue, comply, escalate. Each carried price. Then a sound at the doorway shifted the air. Not a fork clatter, but a voice or footstep that threaded through the room. Heads turned. Sterling's face snapped toward the entrance. Marcus didn't release the badge, but the tight line of his shoulders eased a degree. For a second, everything hung on that new presence, the single variable he hadn't accounted for. Sterling's hand twitched. The knife dipped an inch. Marcus leaned in, voice low, and said something that made Sterling's face change in a way Marcus hadn't expected. There was a flash of something between them. Recognition, doubt, or the memory of a different life. But the rest of the room didn't hear Marcus's words. Before the meaning landed, Brooke moved, quick and certain. The blade flashed, a collective gasp broke, silence splintered. Glass fell, a chair scraped. Sterling's grin vanished, replaced by pale panic. Brooke's composure cracked. Phones rose, witnesses. Someone called for a manager. Another voice said, 911. Marcus ran one last calculus. The blade's reach, Brooks' potential lunge, the angle between arm and chest. He felt the certainty of a man who'd seen the edge and chosen a line he would not cross. He could disarm, comply, or act in a way that would echo in courtrooms. Each choice carried weight beyond linen. He counted his breath, tightened on the wallet, leaned forward, and spoke a word meant to end it, but before it landed. "I am Sheriff Marcus Thorne of Harris County." His voice rang through the restaurant with the weight of command. "You are committing aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against a peace officer. Drop your weapon and get on the floor. Now." The room froze. Diners gasped. The young host's jaw dropped. Brooks' smugness vanished, replaced with disbelief as her eyes darted from the badge to Marcus's face. Sterling, however, laughed. His narrative, that he was heroically expelling an intruder, collapsed, but his prejudice ran deeper than reason. "Sheriff? You? That's a good one. You bought that at a costume shop." He waved the knife. "Impersonating an officer, too. Huh? That'll add to your charges." Marcus saw it in his eyes. Sterling was about to strike. He braced himself, ready to end it. But he never had to. "HCSO. Drop the weapon." A sharp voice cut through. Sterling whipped his head toward a man in a business suit, Glock aimed steady. Then another voice. "On the ground. Hands behind your back." A woman rose, her gun trained. Then two more. 4 deputies. Marcus's command staff from the law enforcement conference stood, forming a deadly crossfire. They had waited for his signal. The badge had been the warning. Sterling's lunge had been the green light. The Gilded Steer was no longer a restaurant. It was a tactical scene. Sterling faltered. The knife slipped from his hand. His arm shot up in surrender. Brooke shrieked as reality broke over her. "On your knees. Hands on your head." Sterling collapsed. A deputy kicked the knife away, cuffing him with practiced precision. His face pressed against the polished tile, his imagined power shattered in seconds. Justice came not with spectacle, but with calm professionalism. A female deputy turned to Brooke. "Ma'am, you're being detained as a party to the crime. Hands behind your back." Brooke stammered. It was a mistake. He had a fake badge. Her words died as she faced the grim circle of officers. Marcus stood now, adjusting his suit jacket. His steady gaze fell on her, heavy with disappointment, not anger. She fell silent as her wrists were cuffed. The restaurant remained hushed, diners staring at their plates as if they no longer belonged to them. "Get them downtown," Marcus ordered Henderson, his lead deputy. "Aggravated assault with a hate crime enhancement. Book her for terroristic threats. DA's office in the morning. Full press." "Yes, sir." As the couple was escorted out, phones buzzed across the room. Patrons texted, recorded, whispered. A story was already forming. That was the sheriff. He never raised his voice. He didn't even draw his gun. The restaurant manager rushed forward, pale. "Sheriff, I'm so sorry. Your meal is on the house. Anything you want." Marcus stopped him. "Not your fault. You tried." His eyes drifted to the untouched steak at his table, appetite long gone. "Just box it up. Give my people some coffee. They've had a longer night than they planned." As deputies gathered statements, an elderly man approached. White-haired, with kind eyes, he spoke softly. "Sheriff, I'm sorry you had to endure that. The way you handled yourself, that was grace under pressure. True strength." Marcus offered a tired smile. "Thank you, sir. That means a lot." Minutes later, he stepped into the cool Houston night, boxed meal in hand. The city air felt heavier than it should. The whispers of the evening were already growing into legend, of a sheriff who faced hatred with calm, dismantled rage with discipline, and proved that true power didn't need to shout. But for Marcus Thorne, it wasn't victory. It was a reminder, a painful truth, that even as sheriff sworn to protect, there were still those who refused to see the man behind the badge. And that was the burden he carried into the night.